Hey, good afternoon, guys. This is Nathan Pennington. I'm the founder of RunDreamAchieve.com, and in today's video, I wanted to just talk on a topic that's commonly asked: how long does it take to train for a marathon? Usually, this is going to be dependent on where you're currently at in terms of your training. Obviously, if you're a beginner, I would personally advise whether you're a beginner or you're an elite athlete. Usually, between 12 and 16 weeks is optimal time to train and prepare for a marathon. One thing I definitely want to just kind of encourage you to keep in mind that uh, the body takes time to adapt to the stresses that you're placing upon it. So the marathon is not a 5K. It's not like a 1 mile on the track or a 10K on the roads. This is 26.2 miles, 42.2 kilometers. There's a lot more that goes into this event as compared to the shorter events. Now, obviously, you have to train properly regardless of the distance. But for the marathon, uh, I would personally recommend, the longer the better. 16 weeks is usually optimal. I wouldn't go any further than 20 weeks or 5 months. That's no more than 20 weeks. Usually, in all the marathons that I've been running, I started running marathons in 2002. Never envisioned myself actually running the marathon, but ever since 2002, I've been usually between 12 and 16 weeks is the distance or the amount of time that I prepare for my own marathon. So again, the marathon is individual. Everybody's different. What works for me may not work best for you. But if you want to run the marathon effectively and be strong and be well prepared for this particular race, you want to definitely be able to put in between 12 and 16 weeks. Again, I wouldn't go any further than 20 weeks. Really, five months of training is plenty of time to get well prepared for this particular event. If anything, if 20 weeks is solid. If you do the first 4 weeks, the first month, just run easy mileage and do nothing but just base mileage, and then start your 16-week block after that 4-week period, then that's fine. 20 weeks is perfect if you do it that way. In terms of the marathon, it's all about proper planning. If to get the most leverage, leverage simply means doing more with less. So 16 weeks is in most cases, and whether you're online and you're looking for the optimal amount of time to prepare for a marathon, 16 weeks is usually the prescribed amount of time that most athletes prepare for this particular race. So that's my answer. How long does it take to train for a marathon? I would recommend 16 weeks. Definitely 20 weeks at the very furthest out. If 5 months of hard training is probably a little bit too much, but 5 months if you include 4 weeks of just real easy base mileage where you're not doing any speed work, you're not doing any types of hill repetitions, harder long runs, things like that, will definitely still set you up for success. Now, as I talk about a lot in my other videos and on RunDreamAchieve.com, if you want to run the marathon at a specific pace, you have to train at a specific, obviously specific types of workouts. You have to focus on what is your goal race pace that you're wanting to compete at. Is it 7 minutes per mile for 26.2 miles? Is it 10 minutes per mile for 26.2 miles? Whatever that goal pace is that you want to run at, you have to remind yourself, okay, if I'm preparing for a marathon, doing 20 to 22 mile long runs or 16 to 20 mile long runs at 8-minute mile pace when I'm trying to run 26.2 miles at 6:45 mile pace might be too slow. Now, that being said, it's very important to still run slow on your long runs, but I also very, very highly recommend, if you want to run a faster marathon, you have to train at or below race pace. So it's a matter of starting as you're getting into good shape. You want to start on setting a specific amount of time that you're spending at a higher heart rate, and then gradually over time, as you get fitter, you want to spend more time at that particular pace, at that particular heart rate. The longer you can extend, either by time or by distance, the better prepared you're going to be able to sustain that pace in the race. And that's really the key. You want to be able to clear lactic acid faster than it's building up in your bloodstream. And you cannot teach the body to improve lactate tolerance by running slow every single day. You know, it's very, very important to still run. It's more important to run quality miles rather than quantity. You know, that's where leverage is really key. You know, if somebody's bragging about how many miles a week they're running, they're 100 miles a week. Okay, great. I ask, what's the percentage of that mileage that you're running? What is the percentage that you're running at or below goal race pace? Because that's going to be the dictating factor in regards to you being able to sustain pace for 26.2 miles or 42.2 kilometers. You want to have that stamina, but you also still have to focus on still factoring in running easy during your long runs, but and during your recovery training. You know, you still want to get on the track and do the hard anaerobic type workouts, the repeat 200s, repeat 400s, repeat 2 miles, getting out on the roads and doing the hill repetitions, maybe like 200 meter to 600 meter hill repetitions, where you're really, you know, your heart rate's up above 175 and you're working your aerobic capacity. Those types of workouts are really critical in terms of being able to sustain pace for 26.2 miles. I very, very highly recommend doing your long runs at a higher heart rate for a longer period of time. Obviously, over a 16 to 20 week block, that's going to take patience on your part. I've been there. I understand where you're coming from. I understand it's frustrating too when you want the results quick, because I've been there over the years several times. And where you either do it, you're in the middle of a 16-week block or 20-week block, and maybe you don't get the result you want in that particular build-up. But a few months or few years down the road, you're going to just you're going to demolish the idea in your mind of how fast you think you can run the marathon. So I just really want to encourage you, if you're wanting to know how long to train for a marathon, keep those things in mind. Keep it in mind that it's about not so much about how long you're training, but how you're setting up your training and the intensities of the workouts that you're doing. Also, definitely keep focused on recovery as well. You can be out there doing great tempo runs, great track workouts, but if you're not taking it easy on those recovery days, you're doing yourself a disservice. You've got to focus on recovery, making sure that your heart rate is between 130 and 150 beats per minute. If you're wearing a heart rate monitor, focus on in that range for your easy recovery pace. You want to be very, very aerobic, just relax, easy pace on your easy days. But when it's time to attack those workouts, I want you hammering it. I mean, definitely, if it's a tempo run, you want to focus on training at your anaerobic threshold. If you're wearing a heart rate monitor, I would advise anywhere between 165 to 174 in that range beats per minute. That's your anaerobic threshold, and usually that's right around where we race at for the marathon. So, for me personally, how I dropped from 243.36 for the marathon to 219.35 was one, focusing more on quality mileage rather than quantity. I've gotten up to as high as 142 miles a week. I ran like crap when I ran that high, but I PR'd. I ran my 219.35 PR for the marathon when I was running between 85 and 90 miles a week. But a very high percentage of that weekly volume, I was training way below what I wanted to run for the marathon, which at that time was 2 hours and 22 minutes. So that was my goal. It was Olympic Trials B standard time in 2008. It was 5:25 per mile, and my PR at the time was 2:43. So I, at that time, had run 6:14 mile pace, and I was trying to go from 6:14 mile pace to 5:25 mile pace. So whatever goal time you have in mind, just keep in mind this event is about patience. It's about putting in the work, not losing enthusiasm when you have some setbacks or when you miss your goal. Know this is a fact. It doesn't matter if you're a total beginner or if you're at the elite level. We all experience those frustrations in training, and in my advice, I can just tell you from my own experience that it's about being persistent. How badly do you really want this? And if it's a specific goal you have in mind, or you're about to train for your first marathon and you've never run a marathon before and you're concerned and you're just keep getting out there every day. Keep putting in the work. There's no easy route to preparing for a marathon. If your goal is to finish the distance, obviously just focus on putting in mileage every day, gradually increasing the distance of your long run. Plug in some of those faster paced runs, and you're going to set yourself up for success. If it's a specific type of pace, then that is the name of the game. You want to be able to sustain pace longer than your competitors, and keep in mind, easy running is still very important. Building up your aerobic base is still very important, but when it comes to racing, it's about sustaining that pace and being able to clear lactic acid faster than it's building up in your bloodstream. So you have to focus on running far, far below the pace that you're wanting to race at for the 26.2 mile distance. Obviously, we all can't run, a minute to 2 minutes faster than our goal pace for the entire distance, but you can run those types of intensities on the track and doing repeat miles, repeat 2 miles, repeat 600s, 300s, Ks, things like that. So continue to focus on if it's a specific goal that you have in mind, continue to focus on that goal pace and practice it often. And just keep in mind, all the benefits of your training come in the rest. Obviously the workout's still extremely important, but if you're not paying attention to all the other variables that go into training for a marathon, like proper rest, proper hydration, staying positive, just listening to positive, podcast. Steer away from negative news if you can, negative associations. Keep your mind visualization as well. The mental piece of training for the marathon is absolutely critical to not only finishing a marathon, but also running in a specific time, which most runners have some time goal in mind, but whether it's to break 5 hours, break 4 hours, break 3 hours, or you may be somebody that's trying to break 2:30 or 2:20. That's the key. Really keeping a positive attitude, positive mindset, preparing properly in training, but also doing all the other little things that go along with all the workouts that you're doing. That a lot of people, including myself, we've all fallen short on that. All the other things that we can easily neglect. If you're putting in high mileage, it's very, very critical that you've got to get proper sleep and allow your body to recover from those hard workouts. So hopefully this training video has been helpful in some way for you. I love talking about my own experiences that I've dealt with, that hopefully can help other distance runners, middle distance runners in their performances. I've experienced a lot of failures myself in the marathon. I didn't just come to be able to break a 2 hour and 20 minute marathon. There were a lot of ebbs and flows, a lot of subpar races. I got beat by numerous athletes. Went through difficult times in training, and but the key thing with me is I stayed persistent with what I wanted, and eventually I was able to not only break 2 hours and 22 minutes, but to break 2:20. So with you, whatever goal that is, whether it's 3 hours, 2:20, 2:10, whatever it is, keep those goals in mind, and you're gonna surpass them. It's a matter of just stickability. It's persistence, consistent training on a daily basis, and find that why. What is it you're out there doing it? What is it that you want to do with this event? And as long as you keep your mind on the goal, and you can write down your goals, and you visualize what you're doing, visualize what you want, see yourself coming across that finish line in that time that you want, or finishing the marathon. Finishing the marathon in and of itself is an enormous accomplishment that a lot of people should be extremely proud of. The marathon is a very, very difficult event, but if you put in the proper training and you get out there with your peers and competitors, you're gonna really surprise yourself. So I wish you all the best. Like I said, how long do you need to train for a marathon? I would advise definitely between 12 12 weeks and no longer than 20 weeks. Like I said, 20 weeks is probably the longest period I would put in. As long as you put in just relaxed, easy mileage, get your base in first for a good month, for a good 4 weeks, and then focus on 16 weeks of your planned training. And then, like I said, a 10-week taper. Sometimes a lot of athletes, a lot of coaches focus on 3 weeks, which I think is great as well. Again, we're all different as athletes, but I, over the years, have found that a 10-day taper has always helped me perform at my highest level. I don't know what it is, but usually 3 weeks out, I kind of feel lethargic coming into a big event. But 10 days out, I've always ran usually my strongest marathons on a 10-day taper. So again, hopefully this video has been helpful. If you haven't yet, definitely subscribe to the channel. I'm continually looking for pain points that athletes have to create videos and to hopefully provide some insight that will help you with some solutions and some tips that, from somebody that is, walk the walk and talk the talk. I've like I said, I've experienced failures. I've had a few successes, but surely I'm not the fastest marathoner out there. I broke 2:20 one time. I've broken 2:30 one time. My second fastest marathon ever is 2:26:42. PR is 2:19:35. There's certainly other marathoners out there that are faster than me, but I can at least share with you some of my frustrations, some of my successes, and things that I've learned from over the years from the coaches that I've worked with and some of the athletes that I've trained with, that I hope will be able to really help you perform at your highest level for the long term, because this is a long-term event. It encompasses a mindset where you have to focus on thinking long-term and not just short-term. Don't lose enthusiasm when you experience some setbacks. This is, again, like we said, this is not a short race. There's a lot of moving parts, a lot of things you got to really focus on, and I know you're going to do fine. Feel free to leave a comment if there's a specific question you have, or if there's a topic that you want me to cover on one of the the future videos. Feel free to do that. I definitely am always excited to get comments and to hear what you think, and to also hear from my readers and my viewers on RunDreamAchieve.com on things that they're dealing either with in training or in their racing, any type of pain points they're having, and I really enjoy trying to help other athletes perform at their best. That's the number one goal for me now. So again, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, feel free to click on the subscribe button, and make sure to click on the bell icon as well. That way you'll get notifications when I create new videos. And with that, I leave you send you the very best, and have a great afternoon, great evening, great morning, wherever you are in the world. I look forward to talking with you next time. Take care.